All right, my immediate reaction, Terence Crawford to Benavidez fight. Now, look, I mean, I had like, I don't know, like 4 pages of notes that I wrote down during the fight, and I was going to read them like this boring, shit. But I was like, you know what, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to give you off the top of my head, eyes closed, immediate reaction. Okay, round 1. Had me thinking, shit, like, oh shit, like what's going to happen here? Because Benavidez came out looking good. I mean, I expected Terence Crawford to come out and make a statement, right? He's in Omaha in front of the home crowd. They're doing this whole pre-fight video to build up the hype and everything. And look, this should have been a showcase fight for Terence Crawford. This was not a step-up fight. Okay, a guy like Benavidez, this was not a step-up fight. It should have been a showcase fight. And look, before I get into it, you guys know, I mean, I applaud Crawford for moving up to welterweight because I had a huge problem with him at light welterweight. Let's go back to Gamboa, mismatch. I mean, these constant mismatches, or fighting a smaller guy, Beltran, come on. Raymond Beltran, I believe. Thomas DeLorme, I think Jean was another one. Henry Lundy. Victor Postog was a good fight. John Molina Jr., old-ass John Molina Jr. Felix Diaz. Now, remember, Felix Diaz, he wanted that fight. And, Crawford gave it to him. But then Julius Ndongo, we had no idea who Julius Ndongo was, until, and that was for the undisputed light welterweight champ, that particular fight. But we had no idea who this guy even was, prior to that. So, and then now, of course, Jose Benavidez Jr. So, I expected, he was 27-0 coming into the fight. I expected, like I said, there's going to be a showcase fight. And if you go back and look at the guys he's fought, there really isn't anyone. If you look at, I'm talking about Benavidez, okay? Rojas, Strode, Santana, Herrera, Mauricio Herrera, okay? There's just no one. There's no one on his resume, to me, that warrants a Terence Crawford fight. So this should have been a showcase fight. But, Benavidez, he turned it around. Now keep this in mind. You got to keep one thing in mind. Okay, Benavidez just got shot, okay, 18 months ago, guys. Shot in the knee, right? Shot in the damn knee. Had, like, a major surgery done on his knee. Doctor said, look, you're never going to fight again. So, basically, you had Terence Crawford versus a guy with one leg. One-legged fighter up in there, holding his own, winning rounds. In fact, I mean, the first half, Crawford was on his bike. I mean, even Timothy Bradley said, oh, Crawford's on his bike, pushing him backwards, controlling the range, controlling the pace, beautiful jab, but you could tell he was one-dimensional. That was the problem. He was one-dimensional. So, I mean, he was having a little bit of success, like Crawford would throw and he would counter. Benavidez would counter when Crawford was coming back. So, he would let him unload, and because Benavidez is bigger, and got the longer arm, he'd counter when Crawford was on his way out, so that was one thing that he figured he could do, which he did well. But, other than that, very one-dimensional. But with that leg, it reminded me of, like, a guy with, like a fake leg. You know what I mean? Like, almost like Martinez Cotto. You go back and watch the Miguel Cotto Sergio Martinez fight, when his knee was all messed up. It reminded me of that. And then even the way that Benavidez, he'd work the jab was like Klitschko. He would kind of paw. That pawing jab or whatever, and then he flashed a quick jab. So, but look, going in, I'd say about halfway through, I had Benavidez up 4-2. Now, they go over to Andre Ward, and Andre Ward had Terence Crawford up by 1 round. Now, what does that tell you? If Andre Ward, the most biased commentator out there, right, if he has Crawford up by 1 round, okay, 1 round, and he said, and he admitted, he was like, and it was close. He said, you could argue it either way, very close rounds, but, we got Crawford winning. Like I said, Terence Crawford should have annihilated this guy, and I feel like he was getting credit for everything. A lot of punches landed on the glove, the hip, the elbow, the shoulder, and the crowd's like, oh, go crazy, crazy, crazy. And the commentators, look, I'm getting tired of these commentators too. They're like, beautiful combination, hard body shot, hard right hand, great. And it's like, no, like it hit the glove, dude. Like, what are you talking about? I also noticed these big ass gloves, these everlasting plastic gloves that Terence Crawford had on, they were huge. So I'm wondering, if he had trouble with his hands or whatever. But, I don't know. Crawford looked a little bit out of his element. He looked a little bit confused and maybe a little worried in there. Even his mom, going into the second half. Well, let me go after the fight. His wife, I believe, was like crying. He said, you could overhear her talking. She said, yeah, you had me crying. Your mom had me crying too. Like they were worried, and look, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to say I'm hating on him or whatever, but I'm not. I'm just being real with you here. In my opinion, this was not a good look tonight for Crawford. It was not. If I'm Spence right now, boy, I'm hungry. If I'm Earl Spence right now, I'm like, somebody make this fight happen right now. So I mean, that's my honest opinion. So, but going into the second half, Crawford, he started to pull away like he does. I mean, he's typically he's kind of a late starter. He likes to download all that information, process it, and he made the adjustment. And even Benavidez said after the fight, he said, look, he made the adjustment and he pulled away and got the win. And and I figured, I knew the knockout was coming in my mind. I'm thinking round 10, round 11, the knockout's coming. But I didn't expect it to happen the way it did. There's like 30 seconds left in round 12. Beautiful uppercut followed up with the right hook. He goes down and the referee waves off the fight and stops it, that kind of thing. So, it was a great finish, but that's really all I can, really truly, give Crawford a ton of credit for, because, look, you're not supposed to go 12 rounds with a dude with one leg. With a guy that really hasn't fought anyone with one leg. Now, they talked about how Benavidez, he sparred Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan, and even Timothy Bradley was doing the commentating as well with Andre Ward. Timothy Bradley, chimed in and said, yes, I actually sparred him back in the day too. He's a great counterpuncher, tough kid, good boxer, that kind of thing, but ever since he got shot, he's, he just lost a lot of his abilities. Like, there's no movement at all. It's like the dude literally had a ball and chain on his right leg. It just reminded me, like, if you could just take your right leg and tape your knee where you can't bend your knee. He just had no movement at all. So I give him credit because he kind of adapted his style to where it's this kind of, he has like a real wide stance. He'll kind of drop his hands and put his chin out like Martinez, like Sergio Martinez, so he kind of came up with a new way to fight without, a lot of movement. So, and, I give him credit for that. And I didn't know that he was shot in the knee until, I don't know, like round 8, 9, 10. I was like, oh, okay. Cause I'm wondering, I'm like, why is he not using like lateral movement? Why he's not on his toes? He's not moving around. And then they started talking about, they showed like pictures of the surgery, and he has like a metal plate in his knee. And I was like, okay, now that makes sense. Cause I'm wondering, like, why is this guy not moving? But even not moving, he was still backing Crawford up, making Crawford look, dare I say average, dare I say average, because, hey, I was not impressed with Crawford tonight. Like I said, if I'm Spence, make it happen. Somebody, let's get some paperwork right now, make it happen, so, and I'm tired of the mismatches. I talk to you guys all the time about it with Top Rank, look, every fight cannot be a war. I get it. But what fight, when was the last time Crawford was in a tough fight? It's like, yes, everyone cannot be a war. I understand. But, look, let's look at his resume right here. Okay, Jeff Horn. That wasn't a tough fight for him. Yes, I understand he moved up to welterweight. And that was his premier fight at welterweight. But before that, Julius Indongo, easy work. Diaz, easy. Molina, Postol, Lundy. I think his hardest fight would probably be Victor Postol. And, I give him a ton. He did damn good in that. Brett Prescott? No. Come on. So, I don't know. I want to see more out of Terence Crawford. I want to see better matchmaking. And I don't like how they ask him, who do you want next? He's like, oh, well, it's not my job. I'm going to fight. I hate that answer. I cannot stand when a boxer replies like that. Like, oh, I'm not a matchmaker. It's up to Bob Arum. It's up to Oscar. It's up to him. It's Lou DiBella. It's up to all these other people, Tom Loeffler. But it's not up to me. It's like, no, you can, who do you want? Like, as a fighter, I'm not asking who it's up to. We know who it's up to. I'm asking you as a man, as an individual, as a free thinking person, who do you want to fight next? That kind of thing. So I hate when they answer like that, because to me, it's a way to duck a call out. He should be calling out, and he says, oh, anybody, I want to fight anybody. Well, who? Who? There's got to be somebody, does this, so me personally, I want to see Crawford, Spence make it happen, and I know they talk about, the politics and, he's in this network, he's on that network. I mean, I get it. I do. I understand. But, there are other fights that could be made. But anyway, getting back to it, on a 1 to 10, I'm going to give him maybe a 6, if I'm being generous. Like I said, I mean, Benavidez had way too much success in my mind, for, what should have been a showcase fight. So, and even in the later rounds, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot Crawford was doing that was hurting Benavidez. He just landed a damn good uppercut, a damn good uppercut. So, look, I'm not trying to take anything away from Crawford, but here's the thing. If I had a time machine, right, and I'm Terence Crawford, I probably would just erase this fight tonight. That's my honest opinion. I don't think it didn't do anything for his name, for his brand, for his career. It didn't install any kind of fear in a future opponent, because look, these guys, they watch, they know, so, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, it didn't, let me get back to my thing here. Like I said, if I'm Spence or whoever, like I said, I wouldn't be afraid. It'd make me want to get in there even more, if I'm a top welterweight. So, I don't know, guys. Am I being too hard on the dude? I mean, and look, I went on a Facebook and Twitter and all that, and a lot of people that are being honest are saying the same thing that I'm saying. They're not impressed, and, it just wasn't a good fight. So, I mean, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. But as far as, like, Terence Crawford, his end, it wasn't too great. So, anyway, what do you think? Leave it below.